Hey, what's up guys? Matt here coming to you from Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson. So today I wanted to show you guys the new Harley-Davidson e-bicycles. So these are called the Serial 1 bikes powered by Harley-Davidson. The Serial 1 is a reference to Harley-Davidson Serial 1, so the very first Harley-Davidson ever made, which I believe can be found in the Harley-Davidson Museum right now, which is kind of cool. So for those of you who aren't really familiar with e-bikes and pedal assist bikes, these are a pedal assist bike, by the way, as opposed to a full electric where you either spin a throttle or press a button and it 100% powers the motorcycle. These bikes, a pedal assist bicycle, will only utilize the electric motor if you are pedaling. So it senses pressure in the electric motor and it then assists you or supplements your pedaling power and generates a lot more power behind your pedaling. So pretty cool system. I've actually owned and been riding pedal assist bikes for about 3 years now. I have a pedal assist mountain bike that I ride once a week that I absolutely love. And so these bikes are more of a cruiser or a road bike, and really these bikes favor just aesthetics and craftsmanship, the fit and finish on the bike. You have no cables, no wiring showing, like the brake cables are all internally wired and all the electrical stuff for the light and everything. And so very cosmetically pleasing bikes. And the other things that these bikes really favor is really good power and torque out of the electric motor, good battery life, and just all around ease of use with very low maintenance. Because all the electrical and cabling is all protected from the elements, they last a lot longer. You've got a carbon belt drive, which doesn't require maintenance and lubrication. It really is a bike that's been designed to just get on it and go and not worry about switching gears, and just a really hassle-free bike where you just plug it in the wall, take it out, and just go for a ride. So there's two core models available. You got the Mosh City and you got the Rush City. The Rush City has two other variations, the Rush City Step Through and the Rush City Speed. Currently at our dealership, we've got the Mosh City, the Rush City, and the Rush City Step Through. We don't have the Rush City Speed. So if you're looking to test ride any of these bikes, please come down to Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson and we'll be happy to get you on a test ride on one of these things. They are a lot of fun to ride. These would be like the ultimate beach cruiser, or if you do a lot of bike riding around town, bike paths, things like that, these are just a blast to ride. In and out's on me, boys. Let's do it. Another really good use that we've been talking about around the shop is if you lived in like a really densely populated urban area and you needed to get somewhere like maybe downtown, LA, Chicago, New York, whatever, these would be a perfect vehicle to do that in. Of course, these would also be a hot target for thieves as well. We also talked about that because these aren't cheap. So the Mosh City, you're looking at $3,400 to get into one of these. The Rush City, you're looking at $4,500, and the Rush City Step Through, you're looking at $4,400 to get into one of these bikes. So they're definitely not cheap, but you are buying one of the most premium pedal assist e-bikes on the market today. So the e-bike world is very new for a lot of folks. So let me get a lot of the most frequently asked questions out of the way. So these bikes all come with a wall charger. You just plug it into any household outlet, the 110 volt outlet, and it plugs directly into your bike, or you can remove the battery out of the chassis and you can charge the battery in a separate location than your bike. This can come in handy potentially if you have two different batteries. So you can be charging one while you're riding your bike, or you can carry a battery in your your backpack or something like that. If you lose a charge, you can swap out the batteries. So charge times, the charge time on the Mosh City, you're looking at about 5 hours. It does 75% of the battery in about 3 hours though. So if you're looking just do a quick charge and get out there on the road, 3 hours and you have the majority of your battery life right there. The Rush City, you're looking at about 6.5 hours for a full charge on the battery. And the battery is one of the main differentiators between the Mosh City and the Rush City. So the Mosh has a 529 watt hour battery and the range is estimated anywhere between 35 and 105 miles, which is a huge range in my opinion, but your total range is really going to depend on the mode and the terrain in which you're riding the bike. Speaking of modes, you have 4 different modes and I'll get into those a little bit more in a second. And again, just to reiterate, I know I mentioned this already, but it's usually a huge thing that people just don't quite understand. These are pedal assist bikes, so the only way that this motor is going to go and assist you is if you are using some of your own physical leg work and pedaling this thing. And it'll be almost like for every revolution of the pedals that you make, it's doing an additional 2 to 4 extra for you. Of course, that depends on a lot of variables like your riding modes and everything. While we're on the topic of battery, so the Rush has a 706 watt hour integrated battery, and they estimate the range on this one between 25 and 115 miles, again depending on the mode and the type of terrain you're going. If you're going up a bunch of hills and things like that, of course that's going to really hurt the range and you're not going to get the distance as maybe someone who's just riding on flat land. Here's another thing about these bikes, it's a common question. So these bikes have absolutely no gears in them, so there's no shifting of the gears, there's none of that wiring, the cabling. You don't have to worry about it going out of adjustment like your derailleur and all that stuff and the maintenance that's involved. So you basically just pedal that thing. It's got one speed. What I found is it's a pretty well-rounded speed that you're in. On the low end, I never once felt like the bike was too hard to get going, like it was in too high of a gear or something for you to pedal out of the hole, especially with the electric assist feature on the bike. There were a couple times where I felt like it would be nice to have 3 or 4 gears, but I think that would kill the cruiser feel that this bike goes for. On the top end, once you get going 15 miles an hour plus, you do feel like you could go for a taller gear, but as long as you're riding in that sweet spot between about 6 miles an hour to 15 miles an hour or so, like you feel like the gearing is perfect on the bike. That being said, if you want to pony up and go for the Rush City, the Rush City does have a CVT style rear hub that acts kind of as an automatic transmission on the bike, and I'll get more into details in that in just a second. Which, by the way, I should mention too, that the pedal assist will assist you up to 20 miles an hour. After you hit 20 miles an hour or faster, the motor will no longer assist you in pedaling. If you have the force and the pedaling speed, maybe you're going down a hill or whatever, you can pedal this bike faster than 20 miles an hour. It's just the electric motor will no longer be assisting you past 20 miles an hour. And there's a bunch of legalities that go into this and the way they classify different e-bikes that I don't really know all the details on, but what I do know is if the bike only assists you up to 20 miles an hour, then it gets through a lot of different laws and things like that, and having to register the bike and not being legal like in the bike lane. And of course the laws are different in different countries and states and things like that, but with the way it is, only assisting you up to 20 miles an hour makes it the most hassle-free and user-friendly as far as the legalities involved with riding these bikes. Stop off for some In-N-Out burger, our go-to. Baldwin Park is the birthplace of In-N-Out Burger, just FYI. Bikes are secure?
Yes.
So jumping into the Rush City, which is the more premium one when you compare it to the Mosh. The hub on this bike is a fully enclosed, maintenance-free NVOLO, what they call intelligent automatic transmission, and it has an electronically controlled CVT, stands for constant variable transmission, in the rear hub, and that's kind of a mouthful. Some of you may be familiar with this concept in different cars that are available right now with a CVT transmission, but what it does is it automatically adjusts the gear ratio to match the rider's pedaling cadence and the terrain they're on. So in essence, it's almost like changing gears without having to go through all the finger work and having this large multi-gear derailleur on the bike. So pretty cool technology. It makes it real simple. So on the Rush City you have this, on the Mosh City you do not have this, which is one more thing to justify the approximately $1,100 price increase on the Rush. That and the Rush has the bigger, more powerful battery. They both are powered by a mid-mounted Bros S-Mag motor, which is the motor that's actually in the crank that's assisting your pedaling. It is a brushless internal rotor, and it produces about 66 foot-pounds of torque, which after riding it, I was really happy and surprised with how much these things really assist you, especially in the upper modes like the boost mode. One of the common talking points that I hear among like some of the haters of these bikes is people say like, oh wow, well you're cheating by riding these bikes, or I prefer to ride my bike to get exercise. And I've been involved in a lot of those conversations over the years as I've been out on the trails riding my personal mountain bike that I have, and people call me a cheater, or there's almost like this stigma behind people that ride the electric bikes. So it's kind of a big back and forth conversation. You're either on one side of the fence or the other. My thing is, you still get as much exercise as you want on these bikes. You can turn the assist completely off, at which point it's 100% manpower on these things. And then if you get tired, or if you no longer want the exercise, you just turn the mode up. For me, I like pedal assist bikes for a couple different reasons. One, I still get all the exercise I want. And two, I'm going 3 or 4 times the distance against the same amount of muscle or physical output that I'm putting into the bike. So using my leg muscles and my manpower, I'm going, like I said, probably 2 to 3 times further on the pedal assist bike. So it's more about covering more ground and getting the same equivalent amount of exercise. But this is a vehicle, a lot of people, they just want to get out there and they want to go places that bikes can go without the big cumbersome nature of a gas powered car. Bikes can go on things like trails and bike paths. They can park just about anywhere. And so for short distances, especially in heavily populated metropolitan areas, they're a great choice. And so it's rad to be able to get around town real quickly without feeling like you have to put in some big old sweat fest workout. Anyways, that's a little bit of a tangent, but I just thought I'd weigh in because it is a huge conversation among people that just ride the regular non-e-bikes and people that ride the pedal assist e-bikes. On this time, yeah. Steve, all right? Later, bro. In case I haven't mentioned, this does have a carbon fiber belt, which is really nice and clean. No maintenance, no lubrication. You got a really bright LED headlamp up front that you can turn on or off. You've also got brake lights in the rear, which is really nice for visibility when you're out on the road. The 4 ride modes you've got eco mode, tour mode, sport mode, and boost mode. And basically in a nutshell, as you go up the line, they progressively assist you more in your pedaling. So eco mode is going to have the least amount of assistance when you're pedaling, and boost mode is going to have the most assistance, which is especially nice if you're trying to go up a steep incline, or maybe you have a strong headwind coming at you or something like that. Tour mode, which is the second up from the bottom, is a good mix of just a decent support with battery economy in mind. The wheel size is 27.5 inches, so a really good rim size suited for on-road application. Another couple differentiators between the Rush and the Mosh. So the Rush brake system is actually a 4-piston caliper, and they're hydraulic disc brakes on both the Rush and the Mosh, which is nice, so you got liquid brakes on there. The Rush also has fenders on it as opposed to the Mosh that has no fenders on it. You've also got these little racks on the fenders of the Rush City, good for strapping down maybe some books or a bag or whatever. I'm sure they can't hold much weight. The Rush City also has this little glove box compartment on the down tube as well, whereas the Mosh does not have it. On both of them, you can press a button on the battery to see what the available life is. For the Rush City, you also have a little bit nicer LED display on the handlebars where you select your different ride modes. You've also got some additional information on there like an odometer and a trip meter and a couple more information points that the Mosh City does not have. So in a nutshell, if I'm comparing the Rush to the Mosh, the Rush is the more premium of the two. It has the CVT hub, which acts as like an automatic transmission hub. It's got 706 watt hours as opposed to 529 watt hours on the Mosh. It has full fenders on it. It's got the glove box in the frame tube. It has the 4-piston caliper brake as opposed to the 2-piston caliper brakes on the Mosh. It's got a nicer LCD screen mounted to the left grip, which is where you select your ride mode, and it has some additional information like odometer that you don't find on the Mosh ride mode selector. All in all, guys, if you want a cruiser bicycle, this is the perfect bike for you. It's not for racing, it's not for off-road stuff, there is no suspension on this bicycle, but if you want a rad cruiser that's very easy to ride, very easy to maintain, very easy to use, and has great styling, the fit and finish is second to none on this thing. Basically, you're getting a cruiser bicycle that's pedal assist, easy to ride, very easy to cover a lot of ground on this thing, and you got the premium nature of a Harley-Davidson product. Every detail in the styling and the construction of this bike is top notch. This is basically a cruiser bicyclist's dream. Anyways, guys, if you want to check these bikes out in person or take one out for a spin and do a demo ride, come see us down here at Laidlaw's Harley-Davidson. If you want to check out Serial One's website or order one of these bikes now, click on the link that I've put in the description below. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll see you out there on the road. Later.